Okay, you want to start? So, we are here for our next class of Sandipani Muni Sunday School. Do you know, the name Sandipani Muni, are you familiar with who that is? No? So, you know Krishna and Balaram, right? Krishna and Balaram, when they were kids, they actually had a guru in Vrindavan. And that was Sandipani Muni. So our Gurudev, Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj wanted that name for this.
Oh, okay.
So that necessity of, they call Shrutis and Smritis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Shruti comes before Smritis. And Shruti means Shravanam, hearing, like we've been talking about. And so that process of needing to hear from the bona fide Vaishnava or Guru is so foundational to the whole process of Vedic education that even Balaram and Krishna is the source of everything, but nonetheless, to show that example, even he is having a guru, the Sandipani Muni. So, today now, this is our first class after having finished learning about the 9 limbs of Bhakti. That's what we were learning about this whole time. That's what Prahlad taught us. Right? That was like the main lesson we took from Prahlad Maharaj. So we have a little video here. It's just about 6 minutes. And it will just basically go over the things that we already talked about Prahlad's pastimes. Okay? And then we're going to go into the next step to understand the context of those 9 limbs of Bhakti, how we can think about them, how we can practice them better.
Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of the tyrant Hiranyakashipu, remained unwavering in his devotion to the Supreme Lord despite brutal persecution. Blinded by power and rage, Hiranyakashipu sought to kill his own son. But Prahlad saw every trial as the Lord's will. In a climactic moment, Lord Narasimha emerged from a pillar to protect Prahlad and destroy the demon king, proving that true devotion conquers all opposition. Driven by envy of the Supreme Lord, Hiranyakashipu sought power and security. He performed extreme austerities following Vedic rites to gain boons from the demigods. His intense penance caused cosmic disruption, prompting a response from Lord Brahma. Though Brahma couldn't grant true immortality, he bestowed mystical perfections that made Hiranyakashipu the most powerful being in the universe, feared by all and unchecked in his tyranny. Empowered by his newly acquired boons, Hiranyakashipu usurped the throne of the King of Heaven and subjugated the superintendents of the natural elements as well as the underworld. All universal affairs were maintained solely to appease his drunken wrath. Compelled by torment, the demigods surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and prayed for relief. Upon this petition, the Lord assured the demigods of Hiranyakashipu's imminent downfall. Despite his mystical perfections, Hiranyakashipu would perish after harassing his saintly son Prahlad. Prahlad always displayed total indifference to the materialistic education offered by his father's minions. Rather, he preferred remembering and worshipping the Supreme Lord. Once, when Hiranyakashipu selfishly desired to enjoy pride in his son, the demoniac king set Prahlad on his lap and inquired about what he'd learned in school. At this moment, Prahlad famously described the 9 limbs of devotional service. Furiously rebuking this enlightened response, Hiranyakashipu ordered his son to be put to death. Following this order, his minions attempted to torture Prahlad. They tried stabbing him, crushing him under the foot of an elephant, throwing him in a pit of angry snakes, lighting him on fire, and more. Nothing could harm this pure devotee who simply sat in meditation on the Lord. Due to Prahlad's transcendental resiliency, Hiranyakashipu temporarily abandoned attempts to kill his young son and refocused on conditioning Prahlad through materialistic education. Prahlad's disinterest in material duty, wealth, pleasure, and even liberation was firm and unwavering. After school, he would speak with his classmates about the futility of selfish pursuits Urging them not to waste time, he explained that delaying spiritual life in hopes of a long life is an illusion. Time vanishes in sleep, childhood, family obligations, and old age. Rather than being bound by material energy, he encouraged surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by whose grace all goals are achieved. He shared that he learned these truths in the womb, hearing from the pure devotee Narada Muni. Prahlad's classmates, children of demoniac parents, gratefully embraced his teachings and rejected the materialistic propaganda around them. Their spiritual turn enraged Hiranyakashipu, who resolved to kill Prahlad himself. Confronting his fearless son, he demanded to know the source of his defiance. Prahlad calmly replied that both his spiritual strength and his father's material power come from the same source, the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Furious, Hiranyakashipu asked if that Lord was in a nearby pillar, then rose in rage and struck it, vowing to kill Prahlad. At this providential moment, the Supreme Personality of Godhead burst out from within the pillar, in the form of the half-man, half-lion avatar, known as Narasimhadev. After a great battle ensued, Narasimha finally took Hiranyakashipu onto his lap, while situated under the threshold of a doorway, and the demon was shredded by the nails on the Lord's hands. The epic of Prahlad's life serves as timeless inspiration for sincere seekers of the truth. The 9 limbs of devotional service that he described were hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord's feet, worship, prayers, serving the Lord in different moods, like friendship, and full self-surrender. These offer a holistic educational framework that supports the development of spiritual maturity. The legacy of Prahlad's worshipable pastimes encourages all of humanity, regardless of caste, color, or creed, to receive guidance from a learned saint, remain committed to their teachings despite the countless mundane influences that can distract a seeker, share those teachings with other sincere souls, and blissfully mature in loving devotional service to Sri Sri Radha Krishna. After a great battle ensued, Narasimha finally
So, before we continue with this, we should offer our prayers to Sri Guru. Om Gyana Timirin Hasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chachur Unmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. And we will say the pranam mantra of Sri Pad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. Would it be better? Is that air conditioner outside making too much noise?
But if we close the door, the air might get.
It'll be too hot.
I think it might be too hot.
Okay.
You want to try it? Let's just try it and see.
So we'll recite the pranam mantra for Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj. Jaya Shri Madhava Puri Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpa Taroteno Pratama Ankura Sikshacharya Madhva Puri Shri Vidya Vilase Koti Mahagyani Jana Jine Parihase Adhyapaka Gana Ara Paru Yara Gana Parajite Haye Sabe Kari Hari Bola. Jai Gurudev. So, these 9 limbs of devotion that we are learning about are the means to cultivate Krishna consciousness, right? To understand how we're a finite part of a greater whole, and that we have a relationship with that whole. Just like in our body, we have lots of little cells that are alive and they're cognitive, they're making decisions, they're cooperating with each other so that our normal organ functions occur. So just like that, and the cells are contextualized within the whole organism, which is us, ourself. So even though sometimes the cells might not be aware of the organism as a whole, nonetheless, they are part of it. So in that way, we're also like a lot of little cells, and we have a relationship to that whole. Even there's one verse in Bhagavatam that actually explains this. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it's a part of our recent Mahanet newsletter. We have it written there. Actually, let me read it. It's outside. So there is this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 39, that says, Sarva Sattvatma Dehaya Visheshaya Staviyase. It means, my dear Lord, you are the gigantic universal form which contains all the individual bodies of the living entities. And then Srila Prabhupada has explained what the verse is referring to. Prabhupada says, as the individual body of the living entity is composed of millions of cells, germs, and microbes, the universal body of the Supreme Lord similarly contains all the individual bodies of the living entities. Lord Shiva is offering his obeisance to the universal body, which includes all other bodies, so that everyone's body may fully engage in devotional service. So this is a helpful way to think about, to make our relationship with Krishna more concrete. And so these 9 limbs of devotion are helping us as those little cells participate in that greater body in a conscious way, becoming conscious of it, not just being unconscious of it. So this was the verse here that Prahlad Maharaj gave us during our previous study, which gives all of those limbs, right? This is Sri Prahlad Uvacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Parasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atman Vedanam, Iti Pumsarpita Vishnu, Bhaktischanavalakshana, Kriyeta Bhagavat Yada, Tanmanyeti Tam Uttamam. Can you read the English?
Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything unto him, in other words, serving him with the body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. One who has dedicated his life to the service of Krishna through these 9 methods should be understood to be the most learned person, for he has acquired complete knowledge.
Yes. So, these are all ways of going from where we are now to where we want to go. Where we want to go is Krishna praying love of God. So these 9 limbs are part of the broader process called Abhidheya. Abhidheya means the path, essentially, going from where we are to where we want to go. Now these teachings were actually explained in this way, in a very systematic way, by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this current age of the universe, Mahaprabhu is the avatar of Krishna. So do you know that there are different ages of the universe, like the different yugas? Do you know the word yuga?
Yeah.
Do you know what they are?
I don't know like the order, but like there's like this Dwapar Yug, Sat Yug, Kali Yug, and forgot the last one.
Yeah, so Satya Yuga is the first one. Then Dwarpa, no, there's one in between. Treta Yuga, thank you. Yes, so basically these yugas are like the seasons that we experience on Earth. Okay, so Satya Yuga is when everything is just born, coming from Lord Brahma. It's like the spring, right? And there are 4 legs of Dharma intact. Right, the 4 legs of Dharma are truthfulness, cleanliness, mercifulness, and austerity. Okay, so all the human beings who are living on throughout the universe and on planet Earth at this Satya Yuga, they live for 100,000 years. Okay, a very long lifetime. And the method, there's a particular method given to cultivate Krishna prema at that time. And when people are living that long, they're given the method of the yoga, doing the yoga poses and doing the pranayama, because that's that process, for it to work properly, it takes a very long time. So they have many years to do that. And so these Satya Yuga people are doing like that. But then comes the next Treta Yuga. So now you're going from spring to summer, right? So those things that were just born in the springtime, now they're kind of blooming fully, becoming more mature in the summertime. But actually now one leg of Dharma is going away. I forget which one. And the process for attaining love of God changes in that yuga. It's now dhyana, or meditation. Okay? So they have a very long time to sit there for meditation and go through the purification that is necessary. And they have good intelligence. The majority of people have good intelligence, so that they can engage in that process very seriously and very properly. Then comes the next yuga, Dwarpa Yuga. It's like the fall time, right? Now in the fall, those things that were mature, they're starting to deteriorate a little bit, right? The leaves are falling off the tree. So now at this time, another leg of Dharma is coming away. So when we say a leg of Dharma is falling away, it means the people are becoming more degraded in their behavior and consciousness. It's not so proper anymore. And again, the method for attaining Krishna prema changes again. Now it's the archanam, the deity worship. So the method is changing based on the capacity of the people in general to accomplish that task. When the majority of people are very intelligent and very pious, then a very hard thing like the yoga is given. And as people become more degraded, then the Lord is merciful and is giving a more simple process to attain it. But the interesting thing is, the more people become degraded, the less people want Krishna prema. So in Satya Yuga, when it's the hardest process, the most people want it. So everyone is doing the yoga. And then as the yugas go on, less people want it, but the process becomes easier, right? So it's interesting. So now comes Kali Yuga. That's where we are now. That's like the winter of the cosmos, where everything is very dormant, in a very almost dead-like state, right? All the plants, all the flowers, they're not blooming. They're in a dormant state. And so in Kali Yuga, the consciousness of the people is also like that. It's at a very low level. And practically nobody wants to engage in Krishna consciousness. And so now, so at this point, now the process is the easiest to get the highest thing. Like we're saying before, to get the highest thing, it was very hard and everybody wanted it. It's kind of like supply and demand. I mean, it's exactly supply and demand, which is so interesting. But I mean, that's exactly how it's described. Now nobody wants it, and the highest thing, all you have to do in order to get that is practice kirtan in the association of devotees. All you have to do is chant the Hare Krishna mantra in the association with devotees. And you can get the highest kind of love of God. So each of those processes for getting Krishna prema is called a yuga dharma. the Yuga Dharma, the process of getting Krishna prema for that Yuga. And in this Kali Yuga, in order to establish the Yuga Dharma, a certain avatar of Krishna came. And that was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually the form. Do you know who is behind Mahaprabhu in this picture?
No.
No?
With the flute.
Who's on the left?
Krishna.
Do you know who's on the right side? Do you know? So there's always Sita and Ram, right? Or Lakshmi Narayan. Do you know who's always with Krishna?
Radha.
Yep. So this is Radha and Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually the combined form of Krishna and Radharani. It's very interesting to learn. So Radharani is the purest devotee. Okay? And she is so self-forgetful. She's giving everything to Krishna. And so she's not, her actions aren't motivated by pleasure. She's not trying to get pleasure for herself by serving Krishna. Okay? She doesn't matter if she's having so many troubles in order to serve Krishna. She's very happy to accept all those troubles if it means she can please Krishna. So because that's her attitude, as a result, she's actually experiencing the most bliss because she's making Krishna so happy. Right? So that might seem a little weird. Why would that happen? So the example in Bhagavatam is given of a tree. In order for all the branches of the tree to be fully satisfied, for the fruits to be very plump and juicy, you have to put the water at the roots. You can't put the water on the branches themselves or on the flowers. The tree just won't absorb the nutrients that way. In the same way, when you want to nourish the hands of the body and the feet and the brain, you can't put food in the ears or in the nose. That's just not how it works. You can only put it in one place, right? You can only eat the food in the stomach, and then all that energy is dispersed properly and everything is very healthy. So in the same way, for everyone who is living to have the best, most fulfilling experience, the method is not by them trying to water themselves or trying to just chase their own desires in a self-centered way. It won't happen. That's like trying to water the twig or the fruit. The fruit won't survive if you put the water directly on the fruit. My foot won't get nourished if I put food in my ear. It has to go in the right place, right? So that proper place is Krishna. He's the center. So because Radharani has adopted that philosophy so deeply, and she's so surrendered to Krishna and so much giving pleasure to Krishna, she's actually getting the most ecstasy. And Krishna realizes she's even getting more ecstasy than Krishna is getting. This is a very high topic actually, but we're talking about it anyway. So because he realized that Radharani is getting more ecstasy than Krishna himself by being a pure devotee, Krishna says, well, I want to experience that. So I have to come as my own pure devotee. And so that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When we're told that Mahaprabhu is the combined avatar of Radha and Krishna, it means Krishna has come in the mood of Radharani as a pure devotee. Krishna is coming as his own devotee. And if we learn more about the pastimes of Mahaprabhu, we can see how he experiences that ecstasy in different ways. So this is who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. And he has different teachings, different followers. He has, so we'll start with his associates before we get to his followers. He has four main associates. Together they're called the Pancha Tattva. Pancha means five, right? Tattva is truth, the five truths. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the center. He always has he's depicted always this golden way. They call him Gauranga. Gauranga means golden, right? They call him Gauranga Mahaprabhu. On Gauranga Mahaprabhu's right, in the blue dhoti, that's Nityananda Prabhu. That's actually Balaram coming in Kali Yuga. Just like Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Balaram always comes with him. So this is Balaram. Nityananda Prabhu is on the right side. And then on the left side with the red dhoti, that is Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit is a very interesting. So we just explained, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna coming in the mood of Radharani. They call it Bhava and Kunti, heart and halo. Okay, Bhava and Kunti. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is coming in the mood of Radharani, it means Krishna has taken Radharani's bhava, her heart, and come. So now Radharani is left with just her kunti, her halo. So this is Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani without her bhava. And so when we read about the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar Pandit is always so desperate for Mahaprabhu's association, because Mahaprabhu has taken the core essence of Radharani and taken it for himself. So Gadadhar is feeling that he's feeling that his most inner essence is Mahaprabhu himself, and so he's so crazy mad about associating with Mahaprabhu and serving Mahaprabhu. This is Gadadhar Pandit. And then finally on the so we have two more devotees, a part of the Panchatattva. Next to Gadadhar Pandit on the bottom left is Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is actually the one, he's older. If you can tell, he has a white beard and white hair. Advaita Acharya is the oldest of the Panchatattva, and he was here in Kali Yuga seeing how all this miserable condition was going on. And he did some yagya, praying to Vishnu, praying to Krishna to come and incarnate to help these people cultivate Krishna praying. Advaita Acharya was a pure devotee, and he knew that this is the only thing that could help them, and it would need to be given in such a simple way because they had no capacity to do anything very austere. So he made this yagya, and it is to fulfill that request of Advaita Acharya that Krishna came as Mahaprabhu. Okay, and then on the bottom right side we have Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur is a grihasta. He has a wife and children, and he would always have the Panchatattva would come to his home and have big festivals and celebrations glorifying Krishna like that. So these are the Panchatattva. These are Mahaprabhu's most intimate, some of his most intimate associates. So whenever we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, I'm not sure if you noticed, but we start with a different mantra. We start with the Panchatattva. Right? So the Panchatattva mantra is Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Okay, repeat after me, okay? Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Prabhu Nityananda.
Shri Advaita.
Shri Advaita.
Gadadhar.
Gadadhar.
Shri Vasadi.
Shri Vasadi.
Gora Bhaktavrinda.
Gora Bhakta Vrinda.
Yes, so whenever we chant with the Maha Mantra, we start with this because it's only through the mercy of the Panchatattva that we have received the Hare Krishna mantra. So then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you can see he has black hair here, right? This is Mahaprabhu as a grihasta. He also was a family man early in the Leela, and then he became a sannyas, and he shaved his head, and this was a very big event in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is the best book to learn about Mahaprabhu's pastimes, this was a very big deal. But we won't talk about that right now. So this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his later pastimes, and he is sitting there with his disciple Rupa Goswami. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 6 main students. They were called the Sad Goswamis, right? 6 Goswamis. And Rupa Goswami was the leader of the 6 of them. So Rupa Goswami had a brother named Sanatan Goswami. So Rupa and Sanatan Goswami were leading apparently mundane lives before they met Mahaprabhu. They were actually working for the government in West Bengal. They were Bengalis, but they were working for, at that time it was in the 1400s. This is when Mahaprabhu was manifest, in the 1400s. So it was a Mohammedan government in West Bengal. So they were eating meat, and they were doing what that culture taught them to do. And then they met Mahaprabhu, and they gave it all up. They were very wealthy, very wealthy. They had a very high position in the government, and they gave it all up, and they became his students to learn about Krishna Prem, how they can cultivate Krishna Prem. So he made them both an acharya of a certain aspect of the process of cultivating Krishna Prem. Like we're saying, the 9 limbs that we learned about are contextualized in Abhidheya. Abhidheya means the path, right? So he made Rupa Goswami the Abhidheya Acharya. Means Rupa Goswami's writings that are in this world teach us how to go from where we are to where we want to go, to Krishna Prem. So that's Abhidheya. And the 9 limbs of Bhakti are a part of Abhidheya. Sanatana Goswami was made the Sambandha Acharya. Sambandha means where we are. Where we are means what is our real position. Our real position, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught Sanatana Goswami, is as simultaneously one with and different from the Lord. So Sanatana Goswami asked the question, Ke ami? He asked, who am I, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jivera Svarupoi, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatasta Shakti, Beda Bed Prakash. He said, Jivera Svarupoi. So the jiva, the svarup, what is the true form of the soul? Jivera Svarupoi, Krishnera Nityadas. Krishnera means Krishna, and Nityadas means eternal servant. Nitya is eternal, and Das is servant. So he says, the true form, your true identity, is an eternal servant of Krishna. Then he says, Jivera Svarupoi, Krishnera Nityadas, Krishnera Tatasta Shakti. So as an eternal servant of Krishna, you're considered Tatasta Shakti. Means you're on the marginal position. You're not simply one with Krishna. You're different from Krishna. But at the same time, you're connected with him. So this is called Tatasta. It's like the shore of a beach, right? The shoreline of a beach is where the land meets the ocean. So it's both at the same time. It's not completely the ocean. It's not completely the land, but it's the margin in between the two of them. So that's the Tatasta Shakti. And that's our position. We have the capacity to go on the dry land and think that we're separate from Krishna and forget about him completely, but we'll find a lot of suffering there. The land is very dry, right? But if we want the nectar, that sweet, juicy nectar of ecstasy, then we have to go into that ocean, the deep depths of the ocean. We can't, even going to the ocean and staying on the surface isn't enough. We have to dive into the ocean. That means we really go deep into Krishna consciousness. So that's the choice. This is the free will, so to speak, of all of us. We have to make that decision because we're on the margin, we're on the shore, and we have to have a sober perspective of the state of affairs on the land, and we're trying so many ways to get satisfaction from things that are finite. Remember, we talked about this so many times. We keep trying to get satisfaction from finite things. Well, that satisfaction will always be finite because the things themselves are finite. That's the land. But getting satisfaction from the infinite, the unlimited, and that means you're getting unlimited satisfaction, that's what waits for us in the ocean. That's deciding, okay, we need to cultivate Krishna consciousness. We need to see how we are in this whole, that we're a little cell in this grand whole, and we're already playing a role, but we're unconscious to it. And because we're unconscious to it, we're suffering. We're thinking we're the center, that we are a whole unto ourselves, and that when we meet other people who think they're wholes unto themselves, that we fight and argue and have wars. But that's all misunderstanding. We have to realize that we're parts of a whole, and that our our true purpose is in service to that whole. And that's when we'll get that permanent fulfillment. So this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. That Sambandha in Abhidheya. Sambandha is where we are as the Jivara Svarupoi Krishnara Nityadas. That's Sambandha. So Sambandha means then we can further hear about all the qualities of Krishna. There are so many infinite qualities of Krishna. And they're very wonderful to hear about. Like in this one scripture called the Brahma Samhita, we're hearing so many wonderful things about Krishna. It starts out with Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karna Karnam. So this is Sambandha. It tells you details about who is Krishna. So it says Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha. Krishna is Ishvar. Ishvar means the controller, who is controlling everything. Param means supreme, right? Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha. Krishna is the supreme controller. Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means his form. What kind of form does that supreme controller have? He has a form of Sat Chit Ananda. Do you know what that means? No? Sat means eternal. Okay. Chit means consciousness, conscious, and Ananda means bliss. So that eternal supreme that supreme controller, Krishna, his form is made out of eternal conscious bliss. Always enjoying, always very happy, always experiencing new happiness. We learn this later in Brahma Samhita. He's further described as Navayovanam. Ananda Chinmaya. No, Anghani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti. Anyhow, one of the other verses tells that he is Navayovanam, means ever fresh. So when we hear that God is eternal and unchanging, it doesn't mean static and boring. Unchanging means constantly changing, always experiencing new. Nava Yovanam means youthful, and Nava means new. So it's like a constantly blossoming new flower, right? So my Gurudev, to explain this, he points to trees, right? Every year a tree is giving new flowers, very beautiful flowers. So even though the tree is what is this? Even though the tree is very old, right? Eternal means it can mean very old. But nonetheless, every year it's giving us these fresh new flowers that are have sweet scents, very beautiful to see. In that same way, God, although is eternal, Puranam, so it's very ancient. Nonetheless, he is Navayovanam. So what is that verse? Ananda Chinmaya. I want to look it up. Advaitim, Achutim, Anadim, Anantarupam, Aryam, Puranam, Purusham, Navayovanam Cha, Vedeshu, Dwarlabam, Adorlabam, Atma Bhakto, Govindam, Adi Purusham, Tamaham Bhajami. Can you read that in English?
I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is inaccessible to the Vedas, but obtainable by pure, unalloyed devotion of the soul, who is without a second, who is not subject to decay, is without a beginning, whose form is endless, who is the beginning and the eternal Purasa. Yet he is a person possessing the beauty of blooming youth.
Yes. So this Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanamsha. Purana means very old or ancient. Right? So eternal means very ancient, no doubt. But at the same time, Navayovanam, it's always fresh, always renewing. So when we hear these, we had never encountered something that can be described by these qualities in our worldly experience. Right? We could never even imagine these kind of descriptions. It's only by encountering the Vaishnava who is pointing us to the Shastras, and then the Shastras are revealing these very beautiful, inconceivable qualities that captivate us so much. So these qualities are Sambandha. They're describing who Krishna is, and then our understanding is that we're contextualized in that. All that beauty, all that greatness that Krishna is, we are a moment of that. So anytime in our life that we are experiencing some happiness, we have to recognize what the source of that is. This is coming from, we're experiencing a little drop of happiness, a little cup, right? But that cup is coming from the ocean, the endless ocean of happiness, of bliss. And that when we turn our consciousness in that way and we fix our consciousness in gratitude and relationship, and then further engage in real devotional service, in that way we tap into that endless ocean, and we participate in it through service. So this is Sambandha. And then the Abhidheya means, okay, wow, we recognize that. We recognize how wonderful Krishna is, even though it will take an infinite amount of lifetimes to ever hear the totality of the glories of Krishna. Actually, we could never hear the totality because they're ever fresh, they're always renewing. But still, we have heard enough to motivate us to really want to engage in that relationship and cultivate that relationship. So that's going from Sambandha. Sambandha is where we are, to Abhidheya, how to get to where we want to go. Abhidheya means the 9 limbs of Bhakti, Shravanam, we have to hear, Kirtanam, chant, Smaranam, remember, all of the things that we already discussed. And now, so we still haven't described what is the goal, right? We have to know something about the goal before we can chart our course from where we are to where we want to go. So that goal is called Prayojan. Again, these are the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had Sanatana and Rupa Goswami as his 2 stalwart students who he made the Sambandha Acharya, Sanatana Goswami, to teach us who we are, where we are. And then he made Rupa Goswami the Abhidheya Acharya to teach us how to get to where we want to go. But still we don't know where it is we want to go. What is Prayojan? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made one of his students named Raghunath Das Goswami the Prayojan Acharya. So as we said before, there is 6 disciples, 6 main students of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Rupa and Sanatan were the 2 leaders, but there was also Jiva Goswami, who was the nephew of Rupa and Sanatan. There was Bhatta Raghunath Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, and finally Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Das Goswami had the blessing to associate with Mahaprabhu at the end of his pastimes when he was experiencing the highest degree of ecstasy in Krishna Prem. And so Raghunath Das Goswami actually got that mercy to really know what that goal is. That goal is what Mahaprabhu came here to experience, is that bhava of Radharani, that the pure ecstasy of being a devotee, a pure devotee. And so that goal of the bhava of Radharani means becoming a servant of Radharani. Only she can experience that bhava. But in order for us to please Krishna in that way, only she can please him in that perfect way. But in order for us to get the benefit and to help him and to serve him in that way, we have to serve Radharani. We have to ask her, how can we help you? but actually she is already surrounded by so many of her associates, the other gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, all the other gopis. So our position becomes Gopi Bharta Kamalayor Dasu Dasanudas, a servant of the servant of the servant of the gopis. So we're very happy to just encounter 5 degrees removed from Radharani, but in that line of her service. And that's what the Guru Parampara is. That Guru Parampara is the degrees away, the Das Udas Anudas of the Gopi Bharta Kamalayor, the servant of the Gopi. So that process, so that goal of serving Radharani so that we can serve Krishna is called Radhadasyam. Radhadasyam. That's what the Prayojan is. So Sambandha, where we are, where do we want to go? To Radhadasyam. And the way to get there is the Abhidheya. And that's what those 9 limbs of devotion are. How do we get to Radhadasyam? And actually, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so Gaudiya Vaishnava means the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But there are other kinds of Vaishnavas who are bona fide Vaishnavas. But the position of the other groups of Vaishnavas is that we want to serve Radharani because she's the best servant of Krishna. But actually, the Gaudiya line, they only like Krishna because Radharani likes him. Actually, the focus is so much on Srimati Radharani that they are only worshiping Krishna because Radharani likes him. And I cannot understand what that actually means, but I'm only repeating this for the sake of at least superficially sharing the proper conception. What that actually means, I have no idea. But I know that by serving my Gurudev, I'm somehow in a very, very low, imperfect way contributing to that line of development. And maybe millions of lifetimes I'll get there. But we have to know what that goal is, at least in some superficial way, in order for that Abhidheya to get to the right place, right? When you launch a rocket, right? If the rocket is like a centimeter to the left, it doesn't seem like a big deal down here. But once it gets to outer space, you're not going to the moon, you're going to be lost. Yeah. And so we have to be so precise in our trajectory of where we're going. In our heart has to be very clear about these things, so that when we're in that process of Abhidheya, of practicing those 9 limbs of bhakti, we always have our objective firmly in the core of our heart, at the center of our mind, so that we won't become deviated, so we don't miss our point. And that can only happen through the mercy of the devotees, through the mercy of Guru. Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj, and by the mercy of his gurus, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and the whole line of acharyas, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj. They're all helping us. They are all come to give us some affectionate guidance so that we can help, so that we can stay aligned with that proper Prayojan endpoint. And so that is the whole context of what we're doing here, is trying to go to that destination. So now moving forward for the rest of these classes that we have, we'll go more into, well, what is Sambandha? Now we'll explore some verses about these very nice descriptions of Krishna and our relationship with Krishna. And then we'll come back to Abhidheya, because there are other complementary processes to these 9 limbs that help us practice. And then at some point maybe we'll read more about Sambandha, the Prayojan, But this gives us the systematic, and it's very systematic really, with the teachings that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given to the 6 Goswamis. It's not sentimental. It's not, you do whatever you feel like doing. He gave a very rational, systematic system of bhakti yoga. And we feel very fortunate to be able to have received that in the proper channel, and to have the opportunity to practice that in the association of other sincere souls. So that is the end of our talk for today. And again, we'll just give our prayers to Gurudev Om Ganat Midan Hasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, and also to the devotees Vanchakalpa Tuyubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So then we can have kirtan together.
Yeah.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhakti Veda Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Navadvip Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki jai.
Jai.
Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki jai.
Jai.
Vrindavan Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham ki jai.
Jai.
Sham Kund Radha Kund ki jai.
Jai.
Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi ki jai.
Jai.
Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki jai.
Jai.
Scientific Sankirtan Yagya ki jai.
Jai.
Princeton Bhakti Vedanta Institute ki jai.
Jai.
Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari 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 Bol.
Jai.
Ganga Puja. Today is Ganga Puja.
Okay.
Jai Ganga Mai ki jai.
Jai. Krishna Kesava Das ki jai.